Hold That Thought releases this week. I just wanted to thank all of you who have joined me on my launch team. We've had a great time over the last few weeks, and this is the day to celebrate. So, we are going to do so by looking at the 7 voices that I unpack inside of the book. These are not the only voices that provide unhelpful thinking, but they are a fair representation of the kinds of thoughts that float through our brains on any given day. And it should be a great conversation. So, I'm Jem Fadling, and it's time for I Can Do That. Well, I mentioned the 7 voices, so let's list them right up front here. They are the stressed achiever, the positive thinker, the inner critic, the anxious controller, the complaining victim, the passive spectator, and the unsettled heart. Now, at its core, each voice does not believe that it already has what it needs. Usually, it's looking for a kind of safety or security. So it finds a way to whisper or yell in your ear to get your attention. And when these voices feel backed into a corner, they might lash out. So here's an example from each voice. See if you can recognize any of these thoughts. The stressed achiever might say, "You haven't achieved enough yet. You haven't proven yourself. Get on it." The positive thinker might say, "You can't possibly have everything yet, but I know how to get it. Let's go." The inner critic might say, "It's not perfect yet. We're going to get this right if it's the last thing we do." The anxious controller might say, "You don't have enough control. What if things go awry? What will happen then?" The complaining victim, "Well, that other person is keeping you from being happy. If they would just change, then you'd have what you need. Until then, you're stuck." And the passive spectator says, "You don't know how to get what you want. You only have so much energy, and we've got more important things to do, like hide, be scared, remain unfulfilled. That way you never have to be disappointed." And then the unsatisfied heart. "How could you possibly fill that giant void in your heart? There's no way to fill up this space. And even if you were to try, there's no way it'll happen anytime soon." Now, seeing and hearing these voices this starkly can make us either laugh or cry. But when these unhelpful thoughts circle around in your brain, they seem very real and they feel like the truth. But remember what we said before, you are not your thoughts. These voices come from any number of places inside of us. Past traumas, unhealthy relationships, and more can cause us to self-protect. And these voices are really trying their best to keep us safe. However, we don't want to let them drive our car. We need to remain at the wheel. These voices are invited into the back seat. You can listen to them, but they don't get the final say. Remember, we never want to judge, condemn, or shame any unhelpful voice. We can simply see it, acknowledge it, and offer a gracious ear. Sometimes our thoughts, which lead to our emotions, they just want to be heard. So grant yourself the space to notice when this is happening and give a listen, even for just a moment, and notice what happens. Now, I'm going to give you another brief overview of the voices, and I'm going to offer some of their go-to motivations, and then I'll give a very short description of a more helpful perspective. Now, in the book, I unpack all of this, way more. This is just a tiny little taste, but let's try this on for each of the 7 voices. So first, the stressed achiever can move to living with intention. This voice offers thoughts like, "Staying busy proves my worth. The more I produce, the more I am. Someone must push this thing up the hill. Let's go." Now, when it comes to matters of the soul, it can be more helpful to notice your intention and your direction rather than your outcomes, which is what the stressed achiever is pushing for, right? Ask yourself, what do you intend? What direction are you moving? These 2 things matter, intention and direction, because that is what process is about, and process matters. So instead of the pushing of the stressed achiever, what do you intend? And which direction are you pointing? And take some heart in that. So, second, the positive thinker can move to growing in hope. Now, this voice offers thoughts like this. Well, everything will probably work out. It probably wasn't meant to be anyway. You should probably distract yourself until this blows over. Now we can move on to something new. Now, hope is a direction the positive thinker can move instead of just la la la, right? So hope comes from your core, and it's typically the fruit of the light going out somewhere else in your life. Hope's like an engine that's unstoppable because it can't be deterred from its mission to see you through to the end. Hope reminds you that you are loved and cared for no matter what is occurring around you. So, again, moving from positivity all the way through optimism and all the way to hope. Now, the inner critic can move to gaining fresh perspective. And this voice offers thoughts like this. Well, you really messed that up. Why can't you get this right? Couldn't you have done better than that? Why do you always keep me waiting? Things could be so much better than this. You don't look right, sound right, smell right. Fix it. Well, when you find yourself ruminating on the situation at hand with all of these critical thoughts and you deteriorate into judgment, criticism, or dual thinking, imagine you're getting on an airplane, you're maneuvering a takeoff, and you're rising above the clouds. Get up to where the sun is always shining and give thanks for a fresh vantage point. Take a breath there and notice how it might help you move forward in a refreshed way. The inner critic gets sort of a focused attention downward, and the invitation is to look up, get where the perspective is, and release the criticism. Okay? The anxious controller now has a chance to move to enjoying life seasons. And this voice offers thoughts like this. So many things could go wrong. What if I fail? What if I look stupid? What will others think? You can't lose control. You must push your way forward. You've got to be sure this goes down the way you want. You'll be safe if you manage every detail. Now, this one's insidious because we're combining anxiety and control, and that is really an unhelpful recipe. But remembering that life is about seasons can help this relax. Each of us ebb and flow in and out of seasons physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, relationally. It would help our souls greatly to pay attention to these movements and work along with them. Thinking seasonally can help calm the anxious controller because we are reminded to let go and expand our thinking. God meets us in different ways in different seasons. Okay? Now, the complaining victim can move toward walking in freedom. Now, this voice offers thoughts like this. Why does this always happen to me? I don't have time for this. My whole day is messed up now. Nothing ever goes the way I want it to. If only they would change, things would be so much better for me. So, if we're going to walk in freedom, what does it take to become a woman who knows who she is and is unafraid to boldly express her God-given voice and abilities? Wherever in your life you feel small, please don't remain stuck there. This is a glorious invitation to live freely. The complaining victim often creates unwanted barriers. So learn to open your life, engage the freedom that is yours, and live expansively. Now, the passive spectator can move to inspiring others through presence. This voice often offers thoughts like this. Well, I'm sure it'll work out. I wouldn't want to rock the boat. I don't know enough to speak into this. My opinion doesn't matter anyway. Someone else will step up, and I don't want to put myself out there. Now, your unique voice emerges as you practice using it in whatever form suits you. It can be as simple as your day-to-day conversations. Taking risks to share what you really think without care about the judgments of others. Moving out from behind fear or laziness and acting on that new project of yours. Putting it out there a little at a time or in one fell swoop. And all of this is done imperfectly, and that's okay. What matters is that you take the risk and you try. And finally, the unsettled heart can move toward being at home. Now, this voice offers thoughts like this: I'll never have what I need. I'll never be who I truly am. This will never work out. Something is missing. I don't know what it is, and I'm not sure I can find it. I feel incomplete, and this search never seems to end. Well, the unsettled heart wants you to think you'll never be satisfied or fulfilled, and that is simply not true. So don't be afraid of your longings. Actually harness the depths of them. Go on a search. Your longings lead to your own healing, which is a beautiful movement for you and can shine a light on the path for others. The home you long for is within you. Engage the process. Now, I know that was brief, and like I said, we barely scratched the surface. I offered a couple of ideas of what the voice sounds like, and then just this tiny little idea of a way to move from there. There's so much more inside the book, and I can't wait for you to read it. But for now, let's move into our I Can Do That for this week. So think about which of the 7 voices that I just mentioned most often makes its way into your head. One of them probably stood out to you a little bit more than the others. So go back if you want to and listen. The perspective shift that I shared, how might that perspective help you as you make some initial steps forward in getting back behind the wheel of your own inner car? Okay? So which voice stood out the most, and how might the shift that I offered help you? Okay? Remember, you're making your way forward one small, simple, and gracious step at a time. And by the way, if I haven't said it enough, Hold That Thought releases this week. It's been 2 years in the coming, and I am ready for it to be in your hands. So go order it now on Amazon or your favorite bookseller, and then join us in Replenish, because we're going to go through Hold That Thought beginning in September in a live Zoom once a month. We'll go through it chapter by chapter, and I will be able to coach and teach you, and you'll be able to ask questions and engage with other women. It's going to be amazing. So get the book and join Replenish, and you can join Replenish by going to unhurriedliving.com/replenish.